Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We are here at the airport, where the airplanes are preparing for takeoff. All aircraft, fire engine number 1. Oh, that's not very good. Did you manage to fire engine number 1? Let's try it again. Fire engine number 2. That's useless. Try 1 again. Ah, there we go. That's 1. Try 2. Ah, that's 2. I hope you've got both your engines working, because now what we do is they fly at you, you fly at them, and we try not to crash. No crashes. Here we go. Go! Oh, no crashes. Wait a minute. It's out of control. Oh, quick. Get a cartoon. Get a cartoon. Something's wrong.
Here's to George, curious little monkey. He's so full of curiosity. Here's to George, the curious little monkey. He's as curious can be.
George, said the man with the yellow hat, Jimmy's mother is baking cakes today. How would you like to help her? Of course he would. So George went over to Jimmy's house. You're just in time, said Jimmy's mother. One cake is in the oven, and now I'm making another one. The kitchen was full of delicious smells. On a counter, Jimmy's mother had set out all the things she needed for her baking. There was a can of flour, a box of sugar, 2 dozen eggs in a bowl, 3 sticks of butter, a bag of chocolate bits, and a carton of milk. Near the kitchen sink was a big mixing bowl, and next to it was a strange-looking gadget. What was that for? George was curious. Jimmy's mother had put butter and a cup of sugar into the bowl. Suddenly, she stopped. "Oh, my," she cried. "Where's my necklace? I know I put it on this morning. It's the one my husband gave me for our anniversary. George, please help me look for it." George looked under the sink, and under the table, and behind the fridge. "It isn't here," said Jimmy's mother. "I'll take a look upstairs." Now, George was alone. What was in the bowl? He jumped up and looked in. Then he tasted it. It needed something more. How about some eggs? He took 1 egg and dumped it into the bowl. Then he took another one, and another one, and another one. Soon, all the eggs were gone. What next? How about some milk? Then some flour. And then, best of all, the chocolate bits. George tasted one and threw one in. Another for George and one for the cake. This was good. Now, what about that strange-looking gadget? George was curious. He pushed the red button and stuck the thing into the bowl. It started to go around, slowly first, then faster and faster. The batter grew higher and higher. It spilled out over the bowl, splashed on the counter, all over George and onto the floor. What a mess. When Jimmy's mother came back, she threw her hands up. She was angry. "I don't believe it," she cried. "What have you done?" George was scared. "Get down right now and help me clean up, George." George picked up a broom and started to work. Finally, the kitchen was clean. "It's time to take the other cake out of the oven," said Jimmy's mother. "There," she said. "While the cake cools off, I'll go upstairs and keep looking for my necklace. You stay here and don't get into any more trouble." That cake smelled good. George picked a little piece. Then a bigger one. And then one more. Before he knew it, George had eaten half the cake. But what was that? Something shiny was right in the middle of it. George pulled it out. It was the necklace. He put it on and then ate some more cake. Finally, Jimmy's mother came back. "George," she cried, "what happened to my cake?" "You found my necklace." She gave George a big hug. Just then, the man with the yellow hat came in. "Anything left for me?" he asked. George watched his friend eat his piece of cake. George had had enough for one day. Well, almost.
I'm John, and I wonder if you can guess what I've got in this little bowl of mine. It's something you get by the seaside, and I'm sure many of you have been to the seaside, and it's something most people catch to eat, and actually they are delicious. But I prefer to keep them and look at them as pets. And I'd like to see if you wouldn't like to do that as well sometimes. So let's tip them into this bowl, into this little tank, and see what they are. There's 2, 3, I think. Go on, in you go. And there they go, because actually they are prawns. Now, prawns make fascinating animals to watch. I don't suggest you try to take them home if you don't live by the sea, but if you do live by the sea, while you're there or on holiday, it's well worth catching some and watching them. They're very fascinating and quite easy to keep. Roll my sleeve up and let's see if we can have a closer look at them. Now, here's a nice, big one. I'm going to try and push him up against the front of the tank so that we can have a close look. It's not very easy because he can move fast if he wants to. Now, can you see? It's all right, I'm not hurting him. Just keep him like that for a minute. And when they put the lights behind him, you can see right through him. It's like looking at an X-ray picture. And in fact, you can see what he's had for dinner. See those 2 dark spots in the front that are his eyes? And just behind that, it's his tummy and all the other little bits of him. And behind that, you can see right through him. It's extraordinary, isn't it? See those legs moving underneath him? He moves along with those, and he can move forward. He walks forward, in fact, but he swims backwards. And if you're trying to catch them and you see them on the sand, remember that, because that back tail of his gives a flip and he shoots backwards, but he walks forward. Now, it's a bit difficult to see in detail, but try and look at the front part in front of those 2 eyes. And there's a sort of a saw on the front of his head, and if you catch them, you'll find it's like a little miniature saw. It makes it very difficult for anybody who tries to swallow him, because that saw would be very painful. And in fact, it can give you quite a sort of prick on your finger if you're not careful. So you want to be careful of that. But otherwise, they're very fascinating little animals. He's also, in the front of him, he's got 2 very long, thin claws, rather like a crab or lobster's claws, but very, very much thinner. Now let's see what he does. I keep out of the way. He'll walk forward, as I said, but he goes backwards very, very fast if he wants to. I don't know if this one will. We'll just leave him there for a minute, shall we? Now, if you catch some of these, the thing to do is you haven't got to have a lovely glass, expensive tank like this, possibly, to look through at them, but we're doing that just for your benefit at the moment. I mean, a bowl's enough, like I showed you to begin with, something like that, because you can look down on top of them, even a bucket. And if you do, you can feed them on little bits of, they like meat or fish or anything like that, and each day that you feed them, change the water immediately afterwards. Otherwise, it can go a little bit bad, and then it's not good for them. But you don't need to change the water more than once every day. And it's great fun to watch and see how they behave. And it rather puts you off eating them after that, because they're such fascinating little chaps. Here, come on, have a little walk forward. I think he won't swim backwards at the moment. I don't think he bothers. But when he does, he'll use that back fin and go very, very fast indeed. Let's bring another one over. Come on, over you come. Whoops, he jumped. Let's see if this one will jump. Come on. No, there he went. You see that? And you realise how fast he can go, but he's so friendly, this one. He's got used to being in here, and he won't. But if you get one you've just caught, you'd find he'd move back very fast. But he walks forward. So if you're catching him in a little net, and you've got a sort of net like this, if it's only that size, and you saw one in front of you, you wouldn't want to go to the front of him to scoop him up, because he'd think, oh, that's easy. He gives a flip of his tail and shoots off backwards. You want to get behind them, and then put your hand in front, and they'll go back into your net. That's one way of catching them anyway. So if I was going to catch him, I'd put the net round here, and I go down in front of him, and, oh, he's gone back into the net. See? That's the way to catch him. If I'd done the other way, he'd have got away. Now he won't let go of the net. Go on, you can go back. There's a good boy. Go on. Anyway, I think you'll find that it's very interesting doing that in the summer if you can keep animals like this and look at them instead of just buying them to eat. I'm not saying you shouldn't eat them, and that's up to you. But I think that once you've got interested in them like this, you probably won't want to. Incidentally, I got interested because I used to catch them for a fisherman who wanted them for bait, and I got so interested in them, I wouldn't give them to him anymore. I just kept them and started looking after them myself, which was very nice. It's also a nice thought that if you're in the holidays for a couple of weeks, at the end of those couple of weeks, put them back where you found them and let them go off. And perhaps somebody else will see them later on. But I think that's the nicest and kindest thing to do. So, come on, have one more look at you if I can get you up. Won't you let go of the net? I don't think he will now. Come on, off you go. Here, let's go off. There we go. And we're going to leave him now. Or rather, if he'll leave me, he doesn't want to. Go on, off you go. He likes that. There he goes. And so we'll say goodbye for this week and let the prawn happily on his own.
Warrior robots in disguise. The evil Decepticons disguised as deadly jet planes have come to destroy Earth. Only the heroic Autobots can save us.
The Transformers.
Oh no! Evil spy cassettes too. This is a job for mini Autobots.
The Transformers.
They're ingenious, they're incredible, they're the Transformers. Warrior robots in disguise from Hasbro.
You'll love this recipe for fun from Mr. Frosty. Just pop in some ice cubes, turn the handle, and out comes the ice, all crunched up. Add a fruity flavor with Percy Penguin. Thank you, Percy. Tasty, fruity ice crunchies. Tubs of fun for everyone. Mr. Frosty from Hasbro.
If you like fast cars, you'll love the Dukes of Hazzard Stunt Busters. Wind it up, start it slow, into second, and watch it go. Wow! Old General Lee really gives it the gun. And if that ain't lively enough for you, there's Dukes of Hazzard Speed Jumpers. It starts slow, but then it really takes off. Woohoo! I tell you, it'll crash through just about anything and come out doing a wheelie. Yahoo! The Dukes of Hazzard Stunt Busters and Speed Jumpers.
What do you give Barbie? The glamorous girl who has everything. It's very tricky, because Barbie already has a four-poster bed and her own vanity unit, complete with hairdryer. And it's no good giving her makeup. She has a whole makeup department and dream store, and so many pretty clothes. What can you give Barbie? You can give her love. Barbie from Mattel, the world's #1 name in toys.
We had to concentrate to make instant soup this good. New Super Mug from Heinz.
Next week on TVAM, join Roland Rat when he launches Operation Foggy with a little help from Kevin and Errol and no help at all from little Reggie. Operation Foggy, that's free our Glennis immediately, is one of the most daring escape plans ever devised in rodent history. That's Roland Rat and Friends every day next week, starting Monday at 9 on TVAM.
Hello, my name's Mike. Do you ever shout? Sometimes I shout. Sometimes I shout at my children, and I really don't like doing that. Sometimes my children shout at me, and I don't like that either. I've written a little song about shouting. Sometimes my daddy shouts at me. When he does, it makes me cry. Sometimes my daddy shouts at Matt, and it's hardly ever fair. Sometimes he shouts at Fergus when he spills his tea. Most times he plays with us, he teases us, takes us out, and he's hardly ever, ever cross, except for when he shouts, except for when he shouts. Sometimes I shout at Matt when he tries to make me cry. Sometimes
I shout at Fergus when he tries to pull my hair. Sometimes I shout at Daddy when my daddy shouts at me. Most times I tease them all, I play with them. When we go out, I'm hardly ever, ever cross, except for when I shout, except for when I shout. See you again next time. Bye.
It was a very cold morning, so Teddy Drop-Ear had on his warmest coat and his fur hat and his fur boots. All his friends were hiding from him under the trees. Hey! God, isn't it a smashing day, Teddy Drop-Ear? Hmm? Well, I think it's rather chilly, myself. Oh, no, not at all. Just the day for doing exercises. Coats off and come and join me. No, that would be very unwise in this weather. Come on, Piggy. Come on, Piggy. Join in. Join in. Piggy, Piggy, now don't you agree with me, Piggy? Taking off coats in this weather is asking for trouble. You're bound to catch some sort of chill. Oh, pooh. Well, I don't care. You just watch me. I'm going to jump, and I'm going to skip, and I'm going to hop. Just you watch me. And watch us too. We agree with Grumper. It's just right for playing. No, you just zip up well and keep your ears warm. Ah, you old fusspot. You're never ready for any fun. Oh, get on with it. Hee, let's play, let's play. It's jolly good fun, this. I'm not going to take any notice of you. Watch me, you old stick in the mud. Off with my coat. I'm going to untie my scarf, take my hat off, and then I'm going to have a good time. Off with our scarves. Oh, dear. There'll be tears before long. It's time to put a stop to this. That's quite enough, you two. But why? Grumper's doing it. It's not fair. Now, come along, do, Grumper. We're all going to tea at my home. I'll come if you catch me. Hee-hee! Hee-hee! Hee! Oh! Choo! Now look what you've done. So what? I'm all right. You're soaked. You're wet through. Put your coat back on at once. But I don't want to. Why should I? Do as I say. Auntie Grunt's baked a cake specially. Oh, well, just for her, then. Hello, Auntie Grunt. How nice to see you. Do sit down. Oh. Are you all here? Hello, Auntie Grunt. Do you want any cake, Grumper? No, not hungry. Do you feel ill? We're waiting for you. Don't feel like anything. Are you all right? Yes. You have a temperature, my lad. Oh, I don't feel well. Oh, never mind. Come along, my boy. Take all these wet clothes off at once. You take him home and I'll go for the doctor. There, my lad. 4 days in bed. No more dancing about in the cold for you, Grandpa. That's it. That's it. Okay. There. No. Now, you just take this to the chemist, and he'll be better in no time. My throat hurts so. When will Teddy Droppy be back? Come along. Swallow this down. It'll make you better. I don't want it. Do I have to? It'll taste nasty. Yes, you do. Hey, Grandpa. Go on. Then you'll soon be able to play with us. Take your medicine. Oh, if only I'd listened. I wouldn't have to stay in bed for 4 days and take horrid medicine. Oh, dear. Next time, perhaps you'll do as I say. Now, go to sleep now. Poor old Grandpa. It's so easy to catch cold, and he was very silly taking his coat off. Never mind. He'll soon be better. Bye-bye till next time.
Hello, I'm Nick, and that was Steve. And over here, Steve is holding a cardboard box. It's not just any old box, though. Not like one you'd get from the supermarket with baked beans in or soap powder and that kind of thing. Tricky drawing a box from this angle. Let's come down this side here like this. Here's his fingers coming around the edge. This box is a special one for carrying animals in. And that's why it's got these holes along the top here. So that the animal can breathe. And what's in there, but there's peeping out, look. This week, Steve is a vet. Steve had a busy day ahead of him. The waiting room was already full, and first in line was a boy with a python, who was terribly shy. He's always hiding in dark places, said the little boy. I was holding him. Let's put some colour on his back. Well, they come from dark places in the forest, don't they? That's why they have all these colours on their backs to disguise them in the jungle. There he is. Lots of these. Very long snake, isn't he? Now we'll finish him off afterwards. He spent the last 2 weeks under our fridge, said the boy. Let's have a look at him then, said Steve. Bring him in. But the python was nowhere to be seen. Oh no, he's hiding again, said the boy. So Steve went on to the next patient. A little girl had brought in her hippopotamus. It was snoring loudly. It's always falling asleep, said the little girl. Do you know, it spends so much time asleep, it never eats.
Steve dragged the hippopotamus into the surgery. It clambered dozily onto the couch and fell fast asleep again. Anti-sleeping pills. That's what he needs, said Steve. He went to the cupboard and got out a big brown bottle full of pills. Now, what's the dose for a hippo? Ah, yes, here we are. Elephants and hippos, 23 pills twice daily. Steve gave 23 pills to the hippopotamus. They'll take about 15 minutes to work. He can lie on the couch until he wakes up, said Steve. Back in the waiting room, the python could not be found. They looked everywhere, under the chairs, in the filing cabinet, even up the chimney. There was no python. "You'd better carry on looking," said Steve to the boy. "I must see to the next patient." It was a man with a nervous-looking frog. Let's draw him in here. He has two froggy-looking eyes. A froggy-looking mouth. There's his back. His leg at the back there. And here. I don't know what you call these. Are these hands or his front legs? He's gripping that man's hand like anything. Very nervous. Ooh. Does look nervous. "Now, what's the problem?" said Steve. "Shh," said the man. "You'll make him jump." "But frogs are supposed to jump," whispered Steve. "Not like this one. Oh, he's very jumpy. He jumps all over the place at the slightest noise." They took the frog into the surgery. "Let's have a look at him then," said Steve. But as the man was passing the frog to Steve, the hippopotamus, who was dreaming about waking up, grunted loudly. Away went the frog. Boing, boing, boing. It upset the waste paper basket. Boing. It knocked over the bottles on Steve's desk. Boing. It jumped into the hippo's tummy. Boing. It disappeared down the hippo's yawning throat. Gloop. "Oh dear," said Steve. The hippopotamus started to snore and croak at the same time. Look, here's old Steve listening to that hippo through his stethoscope. That's what the doctor listens to your chest with, a stethoscope. Colour it in. Went the hippo. Then it let out a long hiss. Oh dear, said Steve. "I've never heard a hippopotamus hiss before. We'd better do something quickly. Look, next time he yawns, you hold his mouth open and I'll have a look." The hippopotamus yawned. Steve looked into its enormous mouth. He rubbed his eyes. "I must be seeing things," he said. There in the big black hole were two pairs of blinking eyes. Not one, but two. Hiss, went the hippopotamus again. "Aha," said Steve. "I think I know what's happened." He went to the cupboard and got out a feather duster. "Stand back, everybody," he said. "This could be risky." He started to tickle the hippopotamus under the nose. Here's Steve's hand. And he's holding that feather duster. With the feathers on the end there. Tickling the hippo under the nose. The hippo's nose began to twitch. Achoo! It was like a cannon going off. Out shot the frog and the long-lost python. Steve called the boy into the surgery. "We found your python," he said, giving the snake back. "Look," said the man, "the shock seems to have cured my frog." Sure enough, the frog was sitting on his owner's hand, croaking quietly. Blah, blah, blah. And at last, the hippopotamus was beginning to wake up. Look at that, his eyes are opening there. Big smile on his face. "The pills are working," said the little girl. The hippopotamus stretched and got up. "Is it breakfast time yet?" it said. "I'm famished." The snake looked worried. It clung onto the boy tightly. It didn't fancy being a hippopotamus's breakfast. "I don't think he'll be crawling into any dark holes again," said Steve. That's it for this week. See you next time. Bye for now.
One beautiful summer's day, Little Thunder and I were ambling lazily along the banks of the Red River. We were on our way to visit our friends, the beavers. As I expected, they were all hard at work building their dam in the middle of the fast-flowing water, watched over by the wise one of the tribe. He was having trouble with Foolish Beaver. "Resting on logs is forbidden," he was saying. But Foolish Beaver couldn't care less and floated on downstream. Little Thunder and I followed. Past the wild horses. Past Brown Bear, who was soundly sleeping. "Aha!" thought the Foolish Beaver. "I'll wake him." Brown Bear did not think it was funny. In fact, he was very angry and resolved to get even with him. But Foolish Beaver didn't care and floated on. Next, he came to my mother, who was doing her family washing. Whoops! He thought he could get away with anything. The next person he came to was an Indian brave who had been fishing all morning and was just about to make his first kill. Quickly, Foolish Beaver stripped the flesh off the fish, leaving the brave with only the bones. He was not pleased either. Meanwhile, I thought I'd play a trick on Little Thunder. But he was not so easily taken in. He had the last laugh. Beaver was still up to his old tricks. So we decided we would all join forces to trick him. What were those mysterious noises? Help! Evil spirits in the trees! Foolish Beaver was scared. He thought the great god of the forest was coming to punish him for his silly ways.
You must repent of your wicked ways. You must promise to behave yourself. Only then will I release you.
Yes, sir. I promise, squealed the beaver.
Go your way.
Foolish Beaver was so relieved that at first he didn't hear the giggling in the bushes. But he was a good sport, and he enjoyed the joke when he saw how cleverly he'd been tricked. And I think we taught him a lesson too.
Roll up for the Domino Rally Amusement Park. See the gold mine, the fantastic roundabout, the daring parachute jump, the amazing loop-the-loop, the incredible roller coaster, and the strongman ring the bell. All the fun of the fair. Domino Rally Amusement Park from Action GT.
Choose to be a Viking or a barbarian and play
Crossbows and catapults. They skirmish at the outposts, and at the heavily guarded fortresses there's furious action. With warriors, spies, kings, strange and mystical weapons. Towers topple, and the sacred treasure is captured.
Better luck next time.
Crossbows and Catapults, the fantasy adventure game from Action GT.
Warrior robots in disguise. The leader of the evil Decepticons is Soundwave. He steals information with his spy cassettes. And this is Optimus Prime, battle headquarters and leader of the heroic Autobots.
Transformers.
They'll stop Soundwave and his evil Decepticons from destroying Earth. We hope.
Transformers.
Warrior robots in disguise from Hasbro.
Behind the door of the big yellow teapot, there's a whole world of fun. And when the Teapot family are at home, everyone stays in to play. There are 2 super rooms, both full of furniture. And at a twist of the lid, they turn right round. Sometimes people drop in for tea, or pop upstairs to play on the merry-go-round. The teacup car can go for a drive.
Jump in, Sugarlum!
But he's home in time for tea.
There's lots of fun for everyone.
In the big yellow teapot!
From Bluebird Toys.
It's new for your kids.
Laser lights, laser lights.
You remember I've been talking all about my dancing. I showed you my first pair of dancing shoes, and my tap shoes, and my old point shoes. And last week we did some mime to some nursery rhymes. And you won't forget to send me your pictures and postcards about those nursery rhyme characters, will you? But this week, I didn't think we'd bother with shoes at all. So go on, kick your shoes off. That's it. I don't mind the smell. Pooh! And I thought we'd do some disco and jazz and aerobics, all rolled into one, and get all the family to join in with you. Let's have some disco lighting. Wonderful! No expense spared. And so, let's disco! We'll start with the feet.
Everybody's talking, can you see the way they're walking in?
And the knees.
All you got to do is show the jaw.
And now the hips.
When it gets to a move the jaw.
And the ribs. Now the shoulders. Woo. And the head. All together. Woo! Yeah! Now let's do some aerobic dancing. Take my jacket off for this one. And get your mummies and daddies to join in when they wake up. Here we go.
Hello, I'm Dick, and here's Dodo, and this morning, as you can see, we're not in our garden. You wouldn't find all these beautiful, strange plants in an English garden. And although the long, hot summer's over, and it's autumn now, you won't be as blooming hot as we are in here, because we've come to the Cotswold Wildlife Park, and we're in the tropical house. So don't expect to see old Frank the Rabbit coming lolloping out of this greenery. It's a good job he can't, because down here in this pool are two creatures who wouldn't half fancy him for breakfast. They're called Albert and Fiona. That's the smaller one over there. And they are Mississippi alligators. All the animals we're going to see this morning are reptiles, cold-blooded creatures that don't have hair or fur or wool or feathers, but scaly skins. And it's the skins that at one time made alligators quite rare. You wouldn't think it to look at those hard, knobbly creatures, but those skins, when they're properly treated, make beautifully marked soft leather for handbags and things like that. And thousands of alligators were killed for their skins. But now I'm glad to say they're protected by law, and I'm glad to say that Dodo and I are protected from them. Well, the next lot of reptiles we're going to see wouldn't hurt a fly, though they might hurt a lettuce. Come on. What do you think of that then, Dodo? Ordinary old tortoise, isn't it? What do you think of this? This is a giant tortoise from a chain of islands in the Indian Ocean called Aldabra. I know I said that reptiles had scaly skins. Sometimes it's a bit more than that, isn't it? Knock, knock. Who's there? Tortoise. Tortoise what? Tortoise a lesson. In the wild, you can tell the age of tortoises from their shells. The proper name for it is a carapace. This fellow's quite young, only about 20. They live as long as 150 years. And this particular carapace is a very interesting one too, because as you can see, it's got all sorts of raised points all over it, and they think that may be because when it was young, it was fed on the wrong food, too much fruit perhaps. You see, on Aldabra, they'd only have grass to eat. So now, they only feed them green stuff like lettuces. And now the young ones growing up have quite flat carapaces, like that one over there. And then there's a whole other lot of giant tortoises that live in the Galapagos Islands in the Pacific. And their carapaces are very interesting because it depends which island they live on. If they live on an island that's got a lot of tall growing plants, so that they have to stretch their necks up to browse from them, over thousands and thousands of years, the front part of the carapace has developed a sort of rolled back collar so that they can stretch right up. Well, the ones that live on islands that are mostly grass, they just have an ordinary end to their carapaces, like these ones do. Well, if people ask you if you believe in giants, you'll be able to say yes, won't you? Now, the next reptile we're going to see really does have a scaly skin, and an awful lot of it too. And he might just fancy Dodo for breakfast. So, Dodo, you stay here with these nice, quiet giants. This is Eric. He's a snake, as you can see. And by the way, don't get the idea that snakes are slimy. They're not. They're beautifully warm and dry. But he's not a poisonous snake. He's a constrictor, which is a kind of snake that coils itself around its prey and squashes it to death and then swallows it whole. Eric is a Burmese python. He's quite small, actually. He's only 10 foot long. The females are twice as much as that. Now, constrictors have an extraordinary mechanism in their jaws where they can open their mouths tremendously wide to swallow their prey whole. A really big one could probably swallow a goat. And even Eric could manage Dodo if she was here without any trouble at all. But I don't think he's going to eat me. He's much too nice. Come on, Eric. All right, Eric? But they wouldn't let me in with this big reticulated python in here. He's 17 foot long, and it takes 3 men to handle him, and they chuck a sack over his head before they go in there too. They're so strong, these big ones. Break your arm, bend your wrist right over backwards, anything. Eric is fed on rabbits and chickens, dead ones. But his feeding times are a bit different from yours, I expect. In the summer, 1 meal a week. In the spring and the autumn, 1 meal a fortnight. And for 2 or 3 of the winter months, he doesn't get any food at all. That's how it would be in the wild. If you offered it to him, he wouldn't accept it. I don't think he's hungry now. I'm going to take him back to his keeper, and we'll see how Dodo's getting on. Hello, Dodo. How'd you get on? Bit boring, was it? Didn't have much to say to her, I expect. Well, it's time to say goodbye from Dodo and me and the giants. See you again next week. Yup. Yup. Goodbye.
Hello, I'm Annie, and I'm here to tell you a story about my boyfriend, Julian. Julian is 7 and lives in America. The story is called Because of Figs. In America, you can have a fig tree growing in your back garden. Anyway, this is what happened to Julian, and this is what Julian told me in his own words. In the summer, I like to lie in the grass and look at clouds and eat figs. Figs are soft and purple and delicious. Their juice runs all over my face, and I eat them till I'm so full I can't eat any more. Because of figs, I got a strange birthday present. And because of that birthday present, I had some trouble. This is what happened. It all started a long time ago when I had my 4th birthday. My father came home from work and said, "I have something for you, Julian. Go and look in the car." I ran to look, and Hughie ran after me, tripping on his shoelaces. When we looked on the back seat of the car, there was a tree, a small tree with just a few leaves. We ran back to my father. "A tree for a birthday present," I said. "A tree for a birthday present," Hughie said. He was 2 years old, and he always repeated everything I said. "It's a fig tree," my father told me. "It'll grow as fast as you grow, Julian, and in a few years, it'll have figs that you can pick and eat." I could hardly wait to grow my own sweet, juicy purple figs. We planted the tree by our back fence, and I gave it water every day. And then, one morning, it had 2 new leaves. "Fig tree, you're growing," I said. I thought I should be growing too. There's a mark on the wall in the bathroom of our house where my father measures us, and I ran into the house to measure myself against my old mark. I pressed my hand against my head, flat to the wall, and checked where my hand was compared to the old mark. I wasn't any taller. I walked outside to the fig tree. "I'm not any taller," I said. I touched the fig tree's new leaves. "I want to grow too," I said. "You know how to grow and I don't," I told the fig tree. The fig tree didn't say a word. "Maybe what makes you grow will make me grow," I told it. And very quickly, I picked the fig tree's new leaves and ate them. They tasted worse than spinach. I was pretty sure they would make me grow. I did a little growing dance around the fig tree with my hands raised high in the air. It worked. I stayed taller than Hughie. I got taller than my fig tree. And every time my fig tree got new leaves, I saw them and ate them secretly. When nobody was looking, I did a growing dance. "If you don't like this fig tree, just tell me," I'd say. The fig tree never said a word. After a year, my father looked at my fig tree. "It's a nice little tree," he said, "but it isn't growing." And he started putting fertilizer on my tree, and he looked at it more often. But when new leaves showed, I saw them first, and I wanted to get taller, so I ate them. And another whole year went by. My mark on the bathroom wall went up 3 inches. I was 4 inches taller than Hughie, and my arm muscle was twice as big as his. The fig tree hadn't grown at all. "Fig tree," I said when I took his new leaves, I'm sorry, but I want to grow tall. And the fig tree didn't say a word. One day, my father was in the garden. He walked over to my fig tree. Julian, he said, something is the matter with your tree. It hasn't grown. It hasn't grown at all. Really? I said. I didn't look at my father. I didn't look at my fig tree either. Do you have any idea what could be wrong? My father asked. I looked straight at my feet. I crossed my toes inside my shoes. Oh, no. I think that tree's just plain no good. We'll pull it out of the ground and get another one. Oh, no. Don't do that, I begged. Julian, my father said, do you know something about this tree that I don't know? I didn't say anything. And I was glad, very glad, that the fig tree didn't say a word. Finally, I said, it's my tree. Give it one more chance. No use waiting around, my father said. His hand was around the trunk of my tree. Oh, please, I said. My father's hand relaxed. After all, it's your tree, he said. Just tell me when you want another one. All afternoon, I couldn't think of anything but all the little fig leaves I'd eaten. I was pretty sure I knew why the fig tree didn't grow. At bedtime, I couldn't sleep. And when Hughie went to sleep, I got up and sneaked outside to my fig tree. I told God I knew that the fig leaves belonged to the fig tree. I told the fig tree I was sorry, and I promised I would never eat its leaves again. The fig tree didn't say a word, but the next week it got 2 new leaves and kept them. That night, I went to bed happy, and I dreamed a good dream. My fig tree was higher than the house. I was almost as tall as my dad. And there were big figs, juicy figs, sweet figs, falling all over the lawn. That's all from Rubber Dub Tub for this week. Goodbye.